Greetings YouTube, this is the Sarcasm Detector coming to you tonight from somewhere over California in the Sol system. And in this video, I'm going to be taking a look at the 31st century Chronos Temporal Dreadnought Cruiser Tier 6. I want to start out first by thanking you guys for all your support on this channel and all the videos. Every single like and share is very, very much appreciated. So in this video, like I said, we're going to be taking a look at this Chronos. Absolutely my favorite ship out of the 16 ships that were released with Agents of Yesteryear. Just taking a quick look at it from the outside initially. Absolutely gorgeous. In this video, we're going to start out by taking a look at the ship, her masteries, her statistics, the gear I have on it. Then we'll take a quick look at the different shield visuals available. We'll take her into an ISA pug to test her out, and towards the end, we will give you the very final verdict on the ship. You might actually be surprised by some of the stuff in this video. So I hope you enjoy. We'll be jumping right into the review right after this jump. This is the Chronos, and I am absolutely in love with this ship. Currently, it is my favorite ship. There's a few more ships I do want to play with, like the Paladin and the Vengeance, but this one absolutely takes the cake for me. Let's start off with taking a look at the ship itself, its masteries, its stats, and the build I have going for it. And we'll start off with the masteries themselves. It's the typical Dreadnought cruiser mastery, so you get the rapid repair. You do get enhanced hull plating, so energy and radiation damage. You also get some critical chance and some extra hit points. And there's this very interesting trait: directed energy modulation and temporal operative abilities grant exotic damage 20% for 15 seconds. I wonder if that stacks or if it's a one-time. Not sure of the cooldowns on this, so we're going to have to look a little bit deeper. Looking at the stats here, you can see that it's got about 87k hull and almost 15k shield facing. Shield regen is very nice. Hull repair rate is interesting, and some fairly decent resists here. You can see the crit chance and severity, and if I go to full speed, you'll see it's got a half decent turn rate and flight speed, but its defense is a little low. I wonder what's going on there. Is that a bug? In any event, let's take a look at some of the gear I have on here. You might be surprised a little bit by what's going on here. So we'll start from the bottom down. We'll start with the fighter pets, the Elite Epoch. Very nice. They seem to be doing some decent DPS. They're not the best fighters out there, the best pets out there. But one interesting thing that they do is they do have the channel deconstruction. That's a typo. You know, if there's a bug hunter out there or a dev watching this, you might want to correct that. So the channel deconstruction actually adds a little bit of entropy, and entropy is actually fantastic. This is one of the nice things about the temporal operative reputation / specialization. And we'll be discussing that a little bit later on. You'll see here we have the standard vulnerability locators, anti-proton, and we do have some threat generating embassy consoles, plasma exploders with exotic particle generators. And here's where it gets a little bit strange. So you'll notice there's the Kobali console, regenerative integrity field, limited time item. Not sure I'm happy with the exclusivity of it, but it is very useful for keeping the ships or keeping it alive. It's a very nice oh crap button. We have the Universal Timeline Stabilizer, another limited edition item from the Chronos Science vessel. I love this console. Very, very nice to have. It increases the uptime of certain abilities like Alpha, for example. Plus, it's a haste on the weapons, and we have quite a bit of haste actually going here. So even some more is nothing to be sneezed at. This is a little bit strange. This is from a recent one of the newer featured episodes, or just episodes, not featured, that came out with Agents of Yesterday. Trillium D plating. I've taken it up to Epic, and you can see it's gotten a little bit extra resistances, a little bit extra hull, a little bit extra shield, and some power from weapons to engines. I'm just testing this out. I'm not 100% convinced that this is actually going to stay on the ship. And finally, we have the actual console for the ship itself, which gives us a little bit extra hull capacity and engineering readiness. Love that. Plus, it's a taunt, a heal, and gives us extra energy damage and crit. So, absolutely fantastic. Love it. I love having the fact that I have 2 taunts, and I'll point those out to you. Red matter capacitor, energy amplifier. You can actually use the exotic boosters here instead. Field modulator for extra tank. Armor catalyst for even more tank. I do have the Iconian set on here. And you guessed it, my anti-proton beams damage 3 pen. Now, I am planning on changing these in the future. It's going to take weeks, but the new temporal defense reputation has anti-proton beams that are rainbow colored, so basically chronoton beams, and I will be changing everything here to those rainbow beams. Just for the looks, not for the damage, for the looks, because I'm actually excited about that. Quick look at my skill tree. You guys have seen this before. It's pretty much science almost maximized with a little bit of engineering, a little bit more engineering than tactical. Actually, I forgot to show you the specializations. I have Temporal Operative as my primary. I haven't quite filled it out yet. Almost there. I have the space filled out. I'm just working on the ground. And I have Strategist as my secondary. So moving away from the Intel Pilot meta. And you would think that's a bad thing, but it's actually really, really good. And we'll show you more of that going forward. Back to the traits. Just a quick look of what I have here. Blade of Shell, Beam Training, Operative, and this is Fleet Coordinator, Particle Manipulator, I cannot speak, Point Blank Shot, Inspirational Leader, we have Intense Focus, and Beam Barrage. For Starship traits, Emergency Weapon Cycle is a must. You'll notice another surprise, I don't have All Hands on Deck on there. Supremacy. And we're using Supremacy instead of a Leech. You'll notice there's no Plasmonic Leech on this build. And yes, it still works very, very well. Back to here, Supremacy, we just saw that. Scrolling down a little bit, we have Invincible. I might actually take that off because we have something similar in the Temporal Operative spec. So that might come off. I'm still playing around with it. And here at the bottom, we have Emitter Synergy for extra exotic damage when we're using our attack abilities, and we're always cycling those, so this is constantly up. And of course, improved feedback pulse. For space reputations, we have the typical fare of the crits. We have the Nakura Auxiliary Power configuration for offensive. We also have the exotic damage bonus, as well as enhanced armor pen. Quick look here, and here's where it gets interesting. This is a Dreadnought cruiser. So it's got quite a bit of engineering seats and is a little bit lacking in science. However, with the temporal operative seating, temporal operative is basically another science profession. And it does that quite well. So for the main tactical we just have, FA, Beta, TAC team. For this seat, Lieutenant, it is a tactical officer in there for the Romulan operative, superior Romulan operative, but we have two temporal operative skills in here: channel deconstruction and entropic cascade. So this is the single target. It just gives a little bit of physical damage plus a little bit of entropy to a single target. This one does something similar, a little bit physical damage, but it will spread the entropy out to various targets out there. And finally, we have here Rapid Decay, which is the spender. It takes all that entropy and converts it into damage, as well as damage resistance rating, -53 here. So that is actually a little bit useful. We do have the engineering team, emergency power to weapons, a reverse shield polarity, and an aux to SIF. And in science, we have hazard emitters, TBR, and a feedback pulse. Quick look here, we have Warfare Specialist, Agent Narul for healing, a Warp Core Engineer for extra power. It's not really super needed. You can swap this out with the one that clears debuffs or something else. Gragamal for the Tractor Beam Repulsors, and 2 Development Lab Scientists to add a debuff to Feedback Pulse. Now, this is just one of the builds I'm running. There is a different build where you swap out the Feedback Pulse for a Gravity Well. You put in a Timeline Collapse in here instead of the... Pretty sure I had it. Recursive Shearing, and it is right there. Timeline Collapse, which is very similar to how a Gravwell works. And then you just swap around a couple of the traits. So in here, under your personal space traits, you would add, it's here somewhere. And I wish these were ordered properly. Invasive control programming. Disable subsystems on these guys, but this also affects some of these temporal operative abilities as well. They're included in there. And you would switch traits, the space traits for... So you would get rid of improved feedback pulse and put in something like unstable anomalies, for example. And you take the feedback pulse DOFs out and replace them with some gravimetric scientists or something along that. So there's a couple of builds. They both work really, really well. And they both do quite a bit of damage. But I'm just highlighting this particular build. And you can see my rotation here. So it starts off with emergency power, beta, FA, TAC team, launch a pet, and we have engineering team on our rotation as well. And the reason for that is strategist. The reason this actually works, this build works, is because of strategist. If I am in threatening stance, when I have this turned on, hull heals will reduce the cooldowns of my bridge officers. So just having that engineering team on rotation keeps everything working on this ship. Everything just works. It's absolutely fantastic. Now, every once in a while, you might have to actually hit either aux to SIF or hazard emitters to actually get that going. But apart from that, it just works. Fantastic little ship. I actually took it into quite a few runs, quite a few pugs, and it was doing really, really well. I'll be showing you a pug ISA run in a few minutes, but first, I'm going to show you all the different shield visuals that I have available and see how they look like on the ship. So we'll be back right after this jump. Iconian Resistance Resilient Shield Array. Dyson Regenerative Shield Array. Nukara Crystalline Resilient Shields. Aegis Covariant Shield Array. Counter Command Covariant Shield Array. Delta Alliance Unimatrix Shield Array. Mako Resilient Shield Array. Terran Task Force Covariant Shield Array. Dielectric Oscillation Resilient Shield Array. Jem'Hadar Resilient Shields. Riemann Prototype Covariant Shield Array. Alrighty, that was actually quite a fun ISA pug, surprisingly, for a pug, I should say. And I'll just go over the parse real quick while we're before we actually do the final review of the ship. It did about 144.98k DPS, so let's just call it 145. Total damage is about 21 million. 49.74% of the damage of the team, 31% crit, and about 88% of the attacks in. So I pretty much solo tanked that whole run. Also did quite a bit of damage from the plasma explosions. Well, not that much. I mean, there are people with a lot more than that. About 19, almost 20k plasma explosions, almost 17k feedback pulse. Entropic Rider did about 13.2. The pets did 7k, 7.6. TBR almost 5k. Tetrion Cascade does a measly 1.5. Channel Deconstruction and Entropic Cascade, both of them together might make up 1k DPS, so there's not much there. The pets, if we open it up, about 2.7, 2.8k from the Concord class. We got a sphere in there for some reason, but the rest of the pets did about 5k, roughly. So nothing too shabby. I'm liking the ship. It does really well in pug runs, and in team runs, it does even better. So the final verdict on this ship, we're gonna split this up into a few different categories. It's affordability, its versatility, its performance, and its synergy. Affordability, it is actually pretty affordable. It's available in the C-Store for about 3,000 Zen. You can get it for a discount. If you buy the Temporal Operative pack, you pay more, but you get more ships. You get something like 12 ships out of it. Don't remember the exact number. Its versatility. Here's the thing. I had this set up very, very science heavy. So this is, in effect, the way I have this set up, a science ship with 8 weapons and a hangar bay, throwing out a lot of exotic damage, both from the bridge officer abilities and from the temporal operative spec and their reputation. So you can play around a little bit with that. You can make it just a pure meta cruiser, or you can make it very, very science heavy like I have. So it is very versatile in that effect. Performance wise, DPS, no brainer. 145k is not a slouch. I'm pretty sure I can get even more out of that. I believe my friend Astro Zombie managed to hit 157k with his, or somewhere around that. There's a video for that. I'm going to be linking that right here. I suggest you check out that video. Very, very interesting. He's got his full build in there. All the information is available in the video itself. And I actually consulted with him a little bit before I actually did that ISA run, and added, modified, changed a little bit in the ship. Science-wise, as you can see, yes, it can perform science-wise. Not in the pure science profession, but adding in the temporal operative gives it that much more exotic abilities and just utility there. In tanking wise, it is not a slouch. I'm a little bit weirded out by its low defense. I'm not sure what's going on there. I'm not sure if it's a bug or I might be missing some traits or something. I'm not really sure, but I'd have to double check that. But she is seriously a solid tank. Very, very solid. Synergy-wise, we touched upon this already. Like I said, she works very well with the standard meta that you have, but you can also add in the temporal operative spec, the strategist spec, throw in all the temporal operative bridge officers, and kind of move away from the intel pilot meta, and it works really well. Everything just fits together. I love flying the ship. She can do quite a bit of damage, as well as be useful. The gravity well, the crusher build that I like to call it, is actually really good in a lot of situations, just piling things up together and just wrecking their face. So overall, this ship, I am giving it a very solid 9.5 out of 10. Very good ship. Highly recommend it. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video, please give us a like. Just hit that like button. If you don't like hitting stuff, just, stroke it gently. And subscribe if you haven't done so already. And remember to share this with your friends. They might learn something. They might get a kick out of this. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have yourselves a good day. This is the Sarcasm Detector saying goodbye.